The film opens with two construction workers who are on their break. They enter an abandoned room and search for a fresh needle in order to use it to get high, but couldn't find one. So they reuse an old needle found in a sink, filled with murky brown liquid. After the injection, both men doze off. The next morning, one of them finds his friend acting strange while facing the wall. He calls out to him, but his friend suddenly lunges at him like a deranged lunatic. He gets bitten, but ultimately manages to escape. That same day, Dr. Adam Vargas bids goodbye to his son, Miguel, who is about to stay with his grandparents, as he hasn't seen them since his mother passed away. After bidding goodbyes, Miguel and his grandparents depart, leaving Adam alone. On the way back to his house, Adam is spotted by his neighbor, Johnny, who invites him over for dinner. They converse over dinner, and Johnny's wife tries to get Adam to eat more. This is despite the pest-induced crop failures on their farm. After dinner, the two men sip some wine out in the fields. Johnny confides in Adam that pests are ravaging all of their crops, but Adam reassures him that nature always finds a way to heal itself. Adam returns home. He tries to fall asleep, but dreams of his wife and son both safely beside him. They cuddle up in bed together, but the wife gets up to vomit in the bathroom. She's battling cancer and her prognosis is grim. Back in the city, the construction worker is rushed to a hospital. He is covered in blood, trembling and coughing violently. He inadvertently coughs on a nurse who has just finished her shift. The nurse wipes the blood off her face and leaves the hospital. She then boards a flight back to her home province. She starts exhibiting signs of sickness during the flight. At the headquarters of the World Health Organization, Dr. Lucy Blake watches online clips of the infected behaving rapidly and violently. She later meets with Carlos Nieves, a doctor and Adam's colleague from Venezuela. Carlos tries to update her on the rapidly spreading contagion, but the signal cuts out. Nurses are seen rushing in the background, and Carlos is also forced to evacuate the building. Meanwhile, Adam goes to the grocery store and finds the shelves nearly empty. A woman steals from the store, and the cashier attempts to chase her. When Adam looks out of the store, he's shocked to find nothing but chaos outside. People are running frantically up and down the street, while cars speed through. A man, now transformed into a zombie due to the virus, emerges from the back of a nearby ambulance and attacks bystanders. A vigilante shoots the zombie to halt him, but a police officer orders the vigilante to freeze. Then, another zombie appears and attacks the policeman. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the building beside Adam. He quickly returns to his car and drives away. Afterward, he immediately calls his son to check if he's safe, but receives no response. Approaching his home, Adam sees Johnny carrying his wife. Johnny informs him that his wife was bitten and is now behaving strangely. Adam checks on the wife. She starts convulsing violently, but Adam sedates her. He retrieves his phone from the car and calls his in-laws. Miguel and his grandparents are safe. Later that evening, Adam searches for information on the virus. Johnny suddenly knocks on his door, saying that his wife is unresponsive. Adam lets them in. Two other neighbors, a man and his wife, arrive at Adam's house. Worried for Johnny and his wife, Adam notices that Johnny's wife has bloodshot eyes and dirty teeth. The wife suddenly assaults Adam, and the neighbors attempt to restrain her, but the neighbor sustains a bite. Johnny's wife is knocked unconscious after being shoved and hit in the head. The bitten neighbor reassures everybody that he's okay, and Adam tends to his wounds. He then receives a call from Carlos, who informs him that they have evacuated the hospital. Carlos provides Adam with his coordinates and tells him that he needs to come immediately. He also informs Adam that they have orders to eliminate anyone infected by the virus. Having overheard the conversation from indoors, Johnny and the neighbors become concerned. Adam disregards Carlos's warning and transports everyone to a hospital for assistance. That same evening, the grandfather checks on his neighbor and discovers the neighbor dead in his backyard. He has shot himself in the head, presumably to prevent himself from turning into a zombie. The grandfather returns home and informs his wife about what he saw. He instructs her to turn off the lights and keep the door locked. He then leaves to inspect the area. Meanwhile, Adam encounters a military checkpoint on the road. The soldiers fire a warning shot, but accidentally hit the car. The loud noise attracts the nearby zombies. Adam informs them that his companions urgently require medical attention, but the soldiers order them to exit the car for inspection. Suddenly, Johnny's wife awakens and attacks them. The soldiers panic and begin shooting. Adam and Johnny return to the car and drive away, as everyone else is bitten and infected. Distraught over his wife's fate, Johnny urges Adam to stop the car and decides to search for his wife, but Adam dissuades him. They argue, and Adam ends up returning to the car, prepared to leave Johnny behind. Johnny ponders his options and ultimately chooses to remain with Adam. They depart to retrieve Miguel from his grandparents' house. That evening, Lucy arrives by helicopter at the encampment where Carlos and his team are stationed. She is ushered inside, and Carlos allows her to observe the construction worker, who has fully transformed into a zombie. The following day, Adam and Johnny press on with their journey. They pause later to repair their tire, but notice zombies approaching and continue driving. They encounter a man being pursued by zombies and halt to offer assistance. Once the man joins them in the car, they safely flee from the zombies. The man introduces himself as Luis, assuring them that he's unharmed and uninfected. After a full day of driving, the car runs out of gas at night. They arm themselves with whatever weapons they can find and proceed on foot. They arrive at an abandoned town and are attacked by zombies. Luis retrieves a gun from a deceased police officer and dispatches the zombies. This attracts more zombies, prompting them to flee. Fortunately, they are admitted into a nearby hotel by another survivor. They ascend to the hotel, where the survivor introduces them to his wife and daughter. The survivor informs Adam that they plan to search for water in the morning. However, Adam insists that they won't be staying long, as they must search for Miguel. Despite the wife's attempts to persuade him otherwise, Adam remains resolute. The next morning, Adam awakens from a nightmare where his son falls prey to a zombie. He then rises and wanders through the hotel. Shortly after, he encounters a zombie and is pursued. Seeking refuge, he enters a room and attempts to lock it, but fails to do so in time. The zombie breaches the room, and Adam dispatches it with a metal rod before barricading the door. Another zombie pounds on the door from outside, so Adam breaks down the wall to the adjoining room and escapes through there. He peeks into the corridor and spots more zombies. He makes a dash for it and gets pursued up to the rooftop. Armed with a wooden plank, he fends them off, but a zombie ambushes him from behind. Luckily, the daughter intervenes and rescues Adam. Together, they search for the rest of the group and stealthily exit the hotel. They reunite with the survivor and his wife outside, who inform Adam that a child is trapped inside one of the shacks just beyond the hotel fences. Johnny and Luis are also hiding in a separate shack. They open the fences, with the survivor attending to the child, while Adam goes to assist Johnny and Luis. The survivor's daughter and mother remain behind. Adam reaches the shack and discovers that Luis has accidentally broken his leg. He tends to the wound. Meanwhile, the survivor emerges from the other shack with the child. A zombie suddenly appears, prompting a retreat back inside the shack. Unfortunately, the zombie breaches the entrance, leading to panic. The wife rushes after her husband, but gets attacked and bitten. The daughter attempts to flee, but is also pursued. She manages to return safely behind the fence. Adam checks on her, and she assures him she's fine. Suddenly, zombies emerge behind her and attack, forcing her into a nearby building, where she's overrun. Hindered by Luis's leg injury, the group decides to spend the night in the shack and depart at sunrise. The next morning, they head to a nearby gas station and find an abandoned car. Adam siphons the gas while Johnny keeps Luis quiet. Another group of survivors arrives at the gas station, but Adam's group remains undetected by staying silent and hidden. They return to Adam's car in the woods and drive away. Meanwhile, the grandfather returns home, but he's been bitten on the back. Despite warning his wife to keep him out, she opens the door. That evening, Adam arrives at the coordinates Carlos provided, finding nothing. As zombies approach, Johnny defends the car while Luis starts the engine for a quick getaway. However, zombies breach the window and bite Luis. Adam and Johnny are forced to flee on foot, eventually encountering soldiers from the encampment who provide refuge. Inside, Adam reunites with Carlos. He observes the infected bodies being burned to prevent contamination. While Johnny eats, Adam discusses with Carlos his need to leave soon for Miguel. They return to the lab, where Adam discovers the virus is a mutated form of rabies, and all samples are from adults. Simultaneously, a zombie horde attacks the camp. Despite the soldiers' efforts, some zombies breach the defenses, prompting the doctors and military personnel to evacuate. Johnny escapes with them. Adam and Johnny encounter Luis, now a zombie, chasing them, but they manage to flee the encampment safely. The following morning, the group moves on, and the captain sends his men to clear the area. But one soldier is bitten. The soldier flees to avoid endangering the group. Shortly after, an argument erupts between the captain and Carlos about their destination. The captain favors heading to a military fort for safety, while Carlos insists on going to a nearby medical facility to develop a cure for the virus. Tensions rise and the captain physically confronts Carlos. Johnny intervenes, aiming a gun at the captain, leading to a standoff. Adam persuades the captain to follow Carlos's plan. Once the situation calms, Adam informs Johnny that he must now search for Miguel. Johnny hands Adam the handgun, and they part ways. On the road, Adam encounters survivors who offer him water, but he declines, growing suspicious. A confrontation ensues. forcing Adam to defend himself, resulting in the deaths of the survivors. He discovers a couple held captive in their car, frees them, and agrees to let them accompany him. However, the woman turns out to be pregnant, not infected, but they are soon attacked. Adam escapes into the forest after the couple's demise. Meanwhile, Johnny and his group's vehicle breaks down on their way to the facility. They continue on foot and encounter zombies chasing horses. Everyone exhausts their ammunition, and the captain sacrifices himself by detonating a grenade to buy them time. This allows Johnny and Lucy to safely reach the facility, but Carlos is bitten during their escape. Adam discovers dead bodies along a river and eventually reaches his in-laws' devastated home, where he hesitantly kills his infected father-in-law. He finds his mother-in-law, and soon after, Miguel, who is bitten but not turned. They rush to the medical facility. On the road, they encounter a woman in distress, but it turns out to be a trap. Adam is shot, but Johnny arrives in time to rescue Miguel and bring Adam to safety. Adam wakes from his coma to find Lucy beside him, who reveals they've developed a cure from Miguel's blood to cure the virus. She explains that children under 10 are immune, and they used the boy's antibodies that ultimately helped in saving the country. In the final scene, Adam leaves the facility with Miguel after recovery, fulfilling his wife's wish to travel together as a family aboard a private plane. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for